Dmitry Bivol will never fight David Benavidez. And the reason why is because David Benavidez is at the very end of his plans. Bivol is already 35 years old. Bivol says he wants to come back, settle out the rubber match with Artur Beterbiev. Of course, that has to happen. They have to have the trilogy. Then he says he wants to, before that fight, actually, he says he wants to fight Michael Eifert as mandatory, then fight Beterbiev. Then he said Canelo 2 or David or somebody at cruiserweight, like a Jai Opetaia. So if you know boxing and you know that Bivol will get more credit, let's say he beats Beterbiev. I don't know how that's going to go, but I'll pick him to beat Beterbiev. Because Beterbiev is just so old. And I don't think he's going to be able to, put his foot on the gas when things get hectic. Bivol's 35. He's coming off back surgery. Maybe he slowed down as well, but he's still a lot younger and a lot more spry than Beterbiev. But let's say he comes back and beats Beterbiev, right? And he beats his mandatory Michael Eifert. That's 2 fights. That's probably a year. Then he says Canelo 2, and Canelo will most likely be up for that fight. Or he says fight a cruiserweight or David. Just say he takes a Canelo 2 fight. That's probably 2 years. Then a cruiserweight or David Benavidez. If he fights David Benavidez and gets destroyed, that's going to hurt his resume. That's going to hurt his name. But if he fights Jai Opetaia and he loses, people are going to say, well, he dared to be great. He went up in weight, blah, blah, blah. We know how this goes. But just the simple fact that Benavidez is last on his list and his options. So not only is he the last guy, it's not like he said, I want Eifert, Beterbiev, and then Benavidez. No. He said Eifert, Beterbiev, or Canelo 2, or Benavidez, or a cruiserweight. So Benavidez isn't even really last on the list. He's last as an option. So he might not be on the list at all, and I think that he's not. Now, why wouldn't Bivol want to fight Benavidez? If you pay attention to body language, whenever they take a picture post-sparring, Bivol has this look on his eyes like, yo, I can't believe this man just did this to me. And Benavidez has a smirk on his face and look in his eyes like, yep, just another day in the office. Every single picture that they have post-sparring. Benavidez has spoken publicly about how he dominated Bivol in sparring, how he wobbled him, how they stopped sparring around early, all of that. So prior to this statement of Bivol saying who he had on his hit list, I actually picked him to beat David. You know why? Because he went 24 rounds with Beterbiev, one of the hardest hitters pound for pound in the entire world. He lost the first fight, didn't get knocked out, came back better, came back more thirsty, more hungry, and came back with a vengeance. And he was unafraid to trade. He was unafraid. He wasn't just in there looking not to get hit or looking to avoid the power. He met the power head on. So I looked at it like this. After going through an experience like that, he's ready to walk through a wall. He's ready to run through a wall. And the Mexican monster isn't going to intimidate this man. But I also believe that if you don't believe it for yourself, then I damn sure can't believe it for you. If he truly thought that he could beat Benavidez, Benavidez wouldn't be so far down his list. Because Benavidez is a big win. So since he has Benavidez the last on his list and an optional last, that right there made me pull back my prediction that Bivol would be able to take his experience and beat David. I think David has a mental hold over Bivol because of the sparring sessions. And just looking at how dominant David was at super middleweight and how good he's been since moving up to light heavyweight, I think Bivol and his team, they're going to steer clear of that fight unless they absolutely have to, unless they absolutely needed to fight. Like, say David collected all the belts or something. But once again, Bivol's already 35. He fights Beterbiev again, that's a lot of wear and tear. He fights Canelo again. He fights Eifert. That's 2.5 years, knowing how boxing is nowadays, where they only fight once a year. And then, once he's finally down to Benavidez, he can say, do I fight Benavidez or do I fight Jai? Or do I fight the next big cruiserweight? I think he's going to go with the cruiserweight. But y'all let me know what y'all think, man. And what are your predictions if Benavidez and Bivol were to fight? Right now, I'm letting you know, here on KJI TV, they're not going to fight. Bivol is never going to fight Benavidez. He's going to do the same thing Canelo did. Stall him out, and stall him out.